Morning everybody, Rusty from the Rusty Razor. Got another shave today, and today we're going to be using Stirling's Barbershop. Yep, it's a nice scent. Works good. One of these days I'm going to get a tub of this. I just like, it's getting really thin. It's like there's a few use. There's probably about 3 more shaves out of this thing. It's getting down to the paper thin. And then we got the second use of the London Bridge blades with the Gillette Super Speed. I think it's late 40s, 50s, somewhere in there. Doesn't have a date mark on it, though. Hard to say exactly. Near as we can narrow it down is that it's a time period in that little bit of area. And then we'll follow up with some Old Spice. Yep. All right. So how's your day going? Mine, it's been a spicy weekend, I have to tell you. Been a lot of the crazy stuff that are going on around here. Oh boy. Yeah. Since the last time you seen me, the old weather has gone crazy. Man. Well, the good news is I didn't see the doctor about my back. Had a little checkup, on Friday. So on Friday, got my checkup, and I've been okayed to drive less than 15 minutes at a period of time. So, which is enough to get me to, just say, my doctor's appointments. It's like, he says, I don't want you driving any more than 15 minutes. 20 max. And I was like, yeah, it's about the amount of time it takes me to get across town to get to my doctor's appointment. So, okay. Yeah. It's like, okay. It's like, other than that, don't get behind the wheel. It's like, don't drive. All right. Fine, I can do that. But everything else looks pretty good. If I remember, I'll put a picture of my lower back with all the, it looks like you're looking at 2x4s and with screws, and you're looking at a table. It's just like screws going in everywhere. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yep. Yeah. So while that was going on, I had my appointment in the afternoon. I was like watching, because I'm a weather spotter, storm chaser type person. I'm watching the weather and the forecast and everything. It's like Friday was going to be a major outbreak day. It's like we had a 10% chance of, from basically just slightly east of Des Moines all the way over to Lincoln, Nebraska. You had a 10% chance or better of seeing a tornado. That's per, like you take a 10 square mile zone, you got a 10% chance of having a tornado in that zone. That's how high it was. It was bad. The indices were really high for having a major outbreak of a day. So while I was sitting there in my appointment, it's like I'm watching video as a tornado's going through Omaha. Yeah, Lincoln, Omaha, that area. So tornadoes are on the ground. Like, yeah. Like, it would have been one of those days where if I was in healthy conditions and able to drive, I'd have been in western Iowa observing and trying to take pictures and video and all that fun stuff. Yeah, this year, it's like I even got put a new battery in my handheld ham radio, HT. And I had the old setup, ready for the truck, but it's like, oh, I had surgery, so I'm just like waylaid. I can't do anything. I'm just laid up. So I'm like, this sucks. And then, you start seeing the old report. We have a big one in western Iowa. It's on the ground and it's been traveling. This thing traveled for miles. We're talking 60 miles, I think it was on the ground. We're talking EF4. And the unfortunate thing is, it went right by one of my friend's houses that lives over there by Harlan, Iowa. Him and his brothers, they have farms over there. And it's like shared a picture of showing the tornado, you know, going right by their house, my one friend's house. And then it shows the pictures of his brother's farmstead area. They got obliterated. Got taken out. They're fine, but you know, it was like they had two homes that they had. They had the original house that was originally on the farm, and then they had the one they built. The original house just got wiped, you know, which they weren't using that much. It was just like an extra home. But when it just skirted just barely enough that it didn't quite wipe them out. But there was one person that died in the state from that tornado, unfortunately. So, and you're watching this, and things kind of calmed down just a little bit, and it's like, okay, maybe things are, you know. And all of a sudden, it's like things started. It's like I'm looking at the radar and watching things, and all of a sudden, you see things just. The sun came out again, and you're like, uh-oh, this is going to be bad. What happens is when the sun comes out, you start heating things back up, and it just blows things up. And we had enough wind shear that was and energy in the upper atmosphere that it just fired things right back up. And then you're seeing this line of storms, and then this line of storms is like, it's like they're heading northeast. The one line of storms that created that big tornado over by Harlan was heading northeast, and eventually it kind of petered out. Like, okay, so we didn't have to worry about, like, yes, you can still have some small ones spin up, and there was a lot of ropers, you know, like EF0 and 1s that would pop up, but you know, they didn't do, you know, much damage other than, you know, because right now there's no crops really in the field that, you know, planting and stuff, but you know, it's not. You know, you got stuff that's just buried, so it's like tree damage and stuff like that, minor stuff, like, you know, that happens. Because, you know, we are Iowa, you know, there's a lot of farm area, which means there's lots of open area. You know, there's just in between farmsteads, so you're not going to have too much problems, usually. You know, like those power lines will go down and stuff. But we suddenly see this line blowing up, and I was like, and told my, you know, because we got the family chat that's on our messenger. I sent the pictures of the line of storms, and they're heading right towards my daughters and my brother-in-law's. They live way on the west side of Des Moines. And I said, you guys are in the path of the next wave. It's like, take shelter. My daughter was hiding under the stairwell of her house in the, you know, right in the middle of her, she lived in a condo. So she was under the stairwell, well, you know, buried in there, listening to the radio that she had on her phone and getting message updates from us. She said, "I'm scared." I'm like, yeah. And then it got interesting as like, you're watching, it's like we were watching Survivor. I didn't watch it Thursday night because we did a live stream on my other channel. And so we're watching. I was like, okay, we better flip over to the TV. live TV. And there was it's like, we got debris field, No, there is a tornado on the ground over by the West Mixmaster, which is right by where my daughter lives. And so they had an actual tornado hit the ground. And you could see the debris field in the air as it's ripping through stuff, taking out trees and tops of houses and stuff like that. Went right over the I-35, I-80 interchange, right there at the Mixmaster, and went into Urbandale and heading up towards Johnston, which was fine. But it basically kind of pittered out. I'm like, okay, crisis avoided there for a major event. And then they said, wait a minute, we have rotation. The same wave is like, it's kind of like this, heading northeast. And then on the east side of this same thing, it's like we got rotation. It's around the, basically where the one of the Hy-Vee is. And they gave the street name. It's right on 14th and Park. And I was like, okay, that's just right over there. It's like, and it's heading northeast. I was like, ooh, northeast is us. So, and you're watching it, it's like, you're watching this rotational path, and they're showing it. This is where we got the rotation. And it is, it's like X marks the spot, is heading right at us. And we're like, oh, crap. And yelled at my son and his girlfriend, and they, get your ass down here in the basement. And they go, why? Because like, we got a tornado heading right at us. And they go, oh, and they come downstairs. And we're watching it, and it's like, it just as it said, all right, here's the location, and it's hitting this area right here. We got debris field in the air, and all of a sudden the power goes, boop. I'm like, oh shit. We lost power. And you're seeing the flashes, flashing through the window, because, there's like, you got the stairwell coming down. We're downstairs, and that's where the main TV is, and you can see the flashes. And it wasn't lightning flashes. This is like the blue flash of power lines being wiped out. And that's just right there, The nearest power lines are just like 2 blocks away. And you hear this roaring sound. It's like, I've been through tornadoes before, and it's like, son of a, and it's like, all right, guys, it's like, hopefully it stays far enough away from us, because we could be seriously dicked here. And all of a sudden the roaring sound kind of died down a bit. And I'm like, okay, I think it passes. It's past us now. But we're sitting in the dark, and then my son and his girlfriend flip on their phone, their flashlights, and my son goes, well, I only got 16% charge on my phone. And I'm like, yeah, hang on. So I walked over, and it's like, what are we gonna do about light? It's like my phone won't last very long. I was like, give me a second. I reached over and grabbed a candle, because I got candles everywhere in the house, just for the sole reason of, just in case you lose power. And I was like, lit a candle, and we're sitting in the dark, and I flipped on the radio, and I listened to reports, and you're getting live reports from of tornado on the ground. And all of a sudden they start coming in. We got reports of major damage in Pleasant Hill, Iowa. Power lines are down. Houses have been destroyed. And, come to find out, it's like, they started doing the reports about, ground reports. If I remember, I'll try to put the video. They took an aerial video of the area, which is, just a little ways away from my house, where, an EF2 tornado smashed into Pleasant Hill and just ripped homes to pieces. We went out yesterday to the store, and most of the area has, you know, street barriers up, road closed, but you can see the south side of Pleasant Hill, and it's like trees are just snapped off, and there's trees laying everywhere. You can see still houses missing roofs, and there's this, you know, as it went through the town here, it's like just on the other side of the hill of the house here is Pleasant Hill. So and it takes us, you know, 2 minutes to drive into Pleasant Hill from where we're at. And that's driving 35 miles an hour. That's how close we are. We're right on the city limits of it, between the two, Des Moines and Pleasant Hill. And I looked at the aerial video that they showed, and I looked, you know, and then you can look at the road map, bring up the map, you know, like Google Maps, and I'm just like, okay, the debris field and the tornado path, basically 2 blocks to 2.5 blocks away. Luckily, to the south of us, you know, we got our housing complex is right here. Just on the other side is the railroad tracks, and then they have all the like sand pits and stuff, and industrial type, that kind of stuff. So there's nothing really in the area that the tornado could have really hurt. There's some homes that are a little farther to the southwest of here, but most of those they had was just like tree damage and stuff. But the major, it actually touched down roughly just to the south of us, just as you're entering the more of the sound where they have all the industrial sand pits and stuff. And then it stayed on the ground until it hit Pleasant Hill and just ripped it to pieces. Unfortunately, no one was injured. Luckily, it kind of clipped the mobile home park that's right there. You can see some of the mobile homes that are tore up. There's a nursing home, retirement home like area. It got hit, but it wasn't major. It looked like major damage to it, from what I can see. Probably windows blown out, stuff like that. But it was the houses. Luckily, is that a lot of the houses that were damaged or destroyed, and then there's this big ass park that is right on the south side of town there that takes up a large chunk of the area before you. And it went into the park and tore the park to pieces. And it took out, and we're talking, you know, like 100-year-old plus oaks and stuff. Just from what I can see, you know, when we were driving through looking, it's like snapped them like twigs. And I can testify, I've been through an EF5 before, and we had a 40-acre field, or woods, a wooded area that's 40 acres in between us and our neighbors. We had EF5 go right between us and our neighbor's farm, and all it left was twigs, and it's like right down to the ground. The trees were gone. This looked like someone took a lawnmower to you know, tall grass. And we're talking oaks, you know, it's like oaks that, like this, literally ripped them out of the ground and threw them into open. We had, you know, hayfield, an open, like a hayfield, and that was farther on. And you're talking half a mile or more in some places, where you had just trees laying in the middle of the field. Just lifted them up and just tossed them like they were nothing. It's like someone was pulling weeds and just like, throw them over there. And that's how powerful these storms can be, these tornado, major ones. You're just lucky this was a EF2 that hit town. Because if it was larger, it would have been bad. It's like, oh, was it 15 years ago? They had an EF5 hit, I think it was Parkersburg, that was up in northern Iowa, and it obliterated. The town's gone. Just decimated it. That's how the strength of these things can be. Oh, not to mention, you know, yeah, we thought we were out of the woods, and it was like, okay, I'm listening to the radio, and then about 2 hours later, we had another wave hit, and then we had more tornadoes. And there was, God, I think there was like 24 tornadoes just in the metro area. And over the weekend, we had the Drake relays. And they had spotted a tornado that came down just right over top Drake Stadium, where they had the Drake relays. If you ever heard of that, it's a big track meet. And that was at a little after 11 o'clock in the evening. But we lost power because, you know, they took the power lines out with the tornado. So it was the next morning. We got our power back the next morning, so it was good. So we didn't have to worry too much, because a lot of the damage was just lines being snapped. But most of the poles and stuff, you know, to the east, southeast, that were snapped off, and those were taken out. But they had to replace those. But power lines were easily enough repaired. You know, they got those done pretty quickly. Because they seen, you know, it's like they had power crews on hand. Everybody was on alert. So they came out in force. And it's like when you're out talking to my neighbor, you know, it's like it quit raining and everything. And my next door neighbor, he was assessing damage because, you know, we all had limbs and stuff laying in our yards and stuff. And the amount of limbs, though, that in our yard wasn't too much, because when the derecho hit 4 years ago, it just cleaned out. It was like someone just weedy whacked all the trees down, and all the weak limbs, they were gone. So we didn't have too much of a problem for our area. Oh, that smells good. All right, there was the affiliate link down below for the razor company. So if you need anything from the razor company, so like if you need to get some barbershop, which I do, maybe I should get some. Yeah. All right, Shave Day was brought to you by Stirling's Barbershop. Yeah, I definitely need to get a tub of this stuff. I like the scent of it. It smells good. And then we had the second use of the London Bridge blades with the Gillette Super Speed. You don't see this guy get used very often. I need to break it out more often. All right, so that's Shave Day, everybody. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Rusty out.